Good morning, y'all. So I got the tea on Chantel Christie, and let's just say I see why her and Brittany Renner get along. Her and Brittany Renner are cut from the same cloth. They both got their whole tendencies. Chantel been done slept with her cousin's man, and that's why the family don't mess with her. And we're going to get into all that. So if y'all didn't watch the Mims interview the other day, Make It Make Sense, he interviewed Jackie daughter, Takari Lee, and she said the family don't mess with Chantel. The whole family don't mess with her because of what she did when she lived with them. And he was like, well, what did she do? And she was like, well, we both lived in Washington and Chantel lived with our family and she did some shady stuff and now none of them talk to her. So she wouldn't say what she did. She just said, it's in my book. If you want to know, go read my book. So I went over and bought the book and I read it, and girl, no wonder Chantel is the way she is. And how dare she had the nerve to come for Drea when she's literally worse.
I think that this is karma for Drea. You're in the world of dating these pro athletes. So don't be surprised when people come out of the woodworks with story about your guy.
So do you remember this thought came on Basketball Wives to try to drag Drea because she slept with Drea's man? That's what she was saying. Like, girl, first of all, how is that going to be your way to fame? Oh, I slept with Drea's man and Drea needs to know. Like, what? Shouldn't Drea be coming for you? Anyway, so her man was like, no, that's not true. You slept with the homie and we just were at the same place at the same time. But me and you was never together. Anyways, then she had the nerve to make this statement. Drea shouldn't be surprised when women come out of the woodworks sleeping with your man. If you're in this industry and messing with athletes. But Chantel, you are the same one who is now doing the same thing. So were you just jealous of Drea the whole time? Clearly she was. Okay, clearly she was. Because if y'all don't know, the other day, her and her sister got into it online, and her sister was saying Brittany Renner was trying to say, oh, Chantel used to have your back, and now look at you. So Takari was like, yeah, she did used to have my back until she was sleeping with daddy's prospects, talking about Doug Christie's basketball prospects, and she had to run back home to mommy and daddy because she needed their money. Okay, so that was the statement she made, right? So then she does the interview with Make It Make Sense, and she was talking about how the whole family don't mess with Chantel because when Chantel lived in Washington with the family, she did some shady shit. So that's when I went and got the book. Now I'm about to read y'all part of the book because it is tea. Chantel is shady as Now read this. Okay, so I'm just going to jump to the part of the book where she starts talking about Chantel's shady ways. So basically, her and her sister moved to Washington. So she said, my sister started working at Walmart and ended up getting an apartment with my cousin Mari, her husband and kids. After my sister moved in, Mari started having more problems with her husband. He blamed it on my sister. Although they were already having marital issues, he thought my sister was a bad influence on my cousin. Mari was trying to follow behind my sister, who was a single woman with no kids. She started dressing provocatively, hanging out, and other things that her husband did not want her doing. I must say, I was disappointed when she moved in with my cousin because I had a 2-bedroom apartment that I just moved into, and I really thought she would stay with me and the boys. I can't deny that I definitely felt some type of way. I didn't know if it was hurt, sadness, or jealousy. I think it was a combination of all three. I just felt it was the perfect opportunity for us to work on our bond. It took me a while to understand that she wasn't being vindictive by not staying with me. We just have different personalities. My sister is an outgoing extrovert. I, on the other hand, am reserved and introverted. She loves to go out and have a good time. I like to stay home, read a good book. I understand how we may clash. All she wanted to do is have fun. I guess she felt my cousin would be more her speed. Living with me may have presented its challenges, but it would have been worth it in the end. If our bond got stronger, I guess that's what she's saying. It would have been worth it if in the end our bond got stronger. Part of having a strong sisterly bond is respecting each other's differences and still loving one another no matter what. My sister always took issue with my quaintness. That's because her patience is like my mother's, which is measured in centimeters. They both easily get frustrated with me, and in turn that puts me in my feelings and then results in misunderstandings and unnecessarily things that's said on both parts. At one time, my sister was ride or die for me. Girl, wait till y'all hear the shit her sister been doing to her. It is crazy. She disapproved of how my mother treated me. When my mother put my kids and I out of her rental house and I started blasting her on the internet, she forbade my grandmother and sister from speaking to me. Okay, I guess she's talking about her mom. I thought she was talking about Chantel, but her mom forbade her grandmother and sister to speak to her. She did not want them calling, texting, or talking to me on social media. My grandmother would still sneak whenever she could and call. It was a little different with my sister because she knew my mother would be all up in her phone records. She emailed it instead. She was the one who told me via email that my mom was trying to have me served with a cease and desist notice in an effort to get me to stop my social media rants. I appreciated my sister in those days because she vouched for me. She validated that I was not crazy and that someone else was indeed. I remember one time she took pictures of my mother's medicine bottles to show me. I wasn't the crazy one. She would record my mother talking shit about me to her and email it to me. Okay, so do y'all remember on the show last week when Jackie was sitting down with Chantel in the room and Jackie pulled her phone out and she was like, Chantel was like, you can record me. You can record me. Okay. And everyone was like, maybe Jackie be recording herself for her own protection. Okay. The reason why Jackie be recording when she has conversations with Chantel is because this shit right here. Chantel's weird ass would record conversations of her and her mom talking shit about the sister, and then she would email it to the sister. That's weird as fuck to me. Okay, even if you're trying to look out to your sister and be like, oh, be careful, mom's talking about you. Like, I would never, like, okay, for instance, I have 3 daughters. I have 2 older daughters. And my 2 older daughters, if they talk about each other, I'm not going to tell the other one, girl, she was talking about you. This is what she said. I'm not trying to create diversion in their relationship. Like, I'm not trying to separate them. So I would never sit there, talk about them, or listen to them talk about each other, record it, and then send it to one of them. Y'all don't think that's shady as hell? This is just shows you how like manipulative it is. And I'm not trying to give Jackie a pass. She did a lot of wrong in the relationship. We're not giving Jackie a pass at all. We're just focusing on Chantel and the shit that she's been doing to her sister. Okay, so let me continue. Okay, so let's continue. One time when my sister came to Washington to visit, my mother paid a guy to hack her email. She found the recordings and the pictures my sister had been sending. She called my sister pissed off. Why the hell would you record me? She accused her of doing so to send to the tabloids, but my sister flat out told her, I didn't send them to any tabloids. I sent them to Takari to let her know how you talk about her behind her back. Now, y'all don't think that's weird as hell? Anyways, let's keep going. My sister was hardcore for me at one time. I'm really not sure where our bond started breaking down. I just know the part I played in that happening. Okay, this is what accountability looks like, y'all. Okay. I'm a person who recognizes and points out my own flaws just as quickly as I do the next person's faults. I admit I was harboring resentment towards my sister for something she really never had any control over. Most of how she felt about me and treated me was a direct result of my mother's influence over her. Okay, so she's admitting her sister didn't treat her good, and she's trying to, put the blame on Jackie because Jackie didn't treat her good. But still, like, Chantel, why were you not treating her good? But now you're on TV talking about how bad your mom treated her. Like, just make it make sense. And I went back and watched the old episodes of Basketball Wives. Chantel was the one sitting up there talking to the ladies about how her mom treated her sister. Like, so everyone tries to drag Takari like Takari's the one who did it. No, her sister was the one who brought this shit to TV. Evelyn seeked out the sister and the book came out, but it was never the sister on TV dragging Jackie. It was always Chantel. So I have no fucking idea why Jackie would bring her back. But hey, I digress. My animosity towards my sister came from the fact that I felt like she should have been able to look past how my mother felt about me to develop her own feelings. Ain't that what she said when she came on the show? That she wanted to get to know Evelyn. She didn't want to, use how her mother felt against Evelyn. And she wanted to put that to the side and get to know Evelyn herself. That's crazy. I'm talking about Chantel. Okay. I wanted to be close to her so bad that I put everything she did and didn't do in regards to me under a microscope. Granted, some of the things she did were really messed up. However, I still took them way too personal and stayed in my bag for way too long. The fact that I was in my feelings made my sister's walls go up. We just ended up in a place where we don't know how to start tearing those walls down. For the sake of being on good terms with my sister, I got over her not wanting to stay with me. I just enjoyed the time we did get to spend together. She lived in Federal Way, which is 20 minutes away, and worked all the time. We really didn't see each other often. My sister was driving the boys crazy. She reminded me of my mother when she was her age. She's tall, beautiful, good style, popping haircut, and nails always on point. She was single and ready to mingle. She just mingled with the wrong people. Okay, here's where we're going to get into Chanel's trifling ass. She started talking to this guy named Bella shortly after she arrived in Tacoma with Grandma. It just so happened that Bella was my cousin Dash's ex-boyfriend. You hear that? Her cousin, Chantel's cousin. He and my cousin Dash hadn't dated in over 5 years. In that time, Dash had moved to Tennessee, gotten married, and was expecting a baby. I'm not sure that my cousin cared too much. It was just not a good look for my sister. She hung out with Bella for a minute, but she wasn't really into him. She was really into this guy named Dez, who was my cousin Lexi's current boyfriend. So this bitch just messing with everybody's man.
Your little cousin's a hoe.
Which way?
My sister would have Dez at her house all the time. My cousin Mari knew this was happening, but her husband didn't. It was like my sister was trying to keep it a secret from him. Their schedules were opposite, so they were just rarely home at the same time. My sister's name was on the lease. She had her own room, and I don't think she really cared that Mari's husband thought one way or another. But Mari's husband wasn't exactly fond of my sister anyway, and I don't think she understood that at the time. One day he saw Dez coming out of my sister's room, and he confronted her about it. He told my sister if she didn't tell Lexi, he would tell her. She never told her. So Mari's husband called Lexi and said, "Did you know that Dez was messing with your cousin?" Upon receiving the news, Lexi was distraught and hurt. So what did she do? She shot the messenger. "Did you know your wife was getting fingered by an old man that works at Walmart?" Damn. Needless to say, after everyone's secrets got spilled, the shit hit the fan. Nobody was messing with my sister after that. They started dogging her out on social media, and I felt as her big sister, it was my job to defend her. I started blasting my cousin's back on social media. I posted, "Anybody got a problem with my sister can go to hell. Y'all need to console each other and get over it." Obviously, after sticking up for my sister, they fell out with me too. My cousin Ouz, I don't know how to pronounce that, Ouz, Lexi's sister, was pissed at me. You know what, bitch? I'm slow as hell. This is me, because I guess that's Oz. Do that look like Oz to you? Okay, her cousin Oz. Okay, so Oz was my closest cousin growing up. So naturally, she was hurt when I took up for my sister, even though I knew she was wrong. Oz was right by my side, witnessing how my mom and sister treated me when I lived with them. She essentially went through my depression with me and reminding me of that. She said, "I have a problem with what your sister did, so I guess you're telling me to go to hell. I came to California anytime you asked me to be with you when you were going through depression, but I guess that don't mean shit to you." So that's what I was told her. It was not that it didn't mean anything to me. I just felt an obligation to my sister. I always do, no matter what we go through. My cousin's feelings were valid. I was in the position where I felt like I had to choose sides, but I did. And in hindsight, I may have said and done some things differently. Several months after all that happened, my sister ended up moving out of the place she shared with Mari, which is the cousin, and her husband, and into her own spot in my apartment complex. My mother was in Washington moving some stuff out of one of her storage units at the time my sister moved. She ended up giving some furniture to my sister and personally helped her decorate her entire place. My mother has furnished an apartment, maybe even 2 for me as well over the years, but what she didn't do is help me decorate it herself. She paid for the stuff, but she would always send my grandmother, sometimes my sister, or someone else to help me set up and decorate. What stings about that, she went to my sister's very first apartment she ever had and has even never been to any of my places still to this day. My sister lived in the same apartment complex as I did. So to get to her house, my mother had to drive by mine. Not once, but twice. My mother didn't stop to say hello. She didn't even slow down and wave. She wasn't interested in seeing me, her grandchildren, or my place. That really hurt. I'm wondering, like, okay, I'm not trying to stick up for Jackie again, but like her mom was supporting her, helping her, pay her rent and giving her furniture. She just wasn't coming by. But I'm wondering, because she just said in the previous page that her sister was sending her messages, telling her mom was trying to send her a cease and desist. So this was already after Takari was blasting her mom and wrote this book about her. So Maybe that's why she wasn't coming by. I'm just saying, like, I personally would have got over it with my kid, but I also don't know how I would feel if my kid was blasting me online. But let's just say, let's call a spade a spade. Jackie, that's wrong. You shouldn't be going over there to see Chantel's place and not Takari's, like, if they live in the same goddamn complex. But, I mean, Takari, at least she was still helping you. But that's neither here nor there. The relationship is fucked up, okay? But let's just keep going. I got over the sting of that, as I always have, and life continued on as it always does. My sister living in the same complex didn't really change our situation much. I would sometimes go over to her place and she would come over to mine. My cousins LaShawn and Lexi lived in the same complex as I did. Mind you, remember, Chantel's messy hoe ass was talking to Lexi's man previously. Okay, so now they all living in the same goddamn complex. Okay, so needless to say, Lexi was livid when she found out my sister had moved into the complex. Yeah, girl, I will be too. One day, my sister and I were coming back from somewhere. We entered the complex and saw cops outside of my cousin Lexi's apartment. We didn't see Lexi, but Des was standing outside, and my sister got all buoyant. What does that mean? Girl, what does that mean? Somebody put it down in the comments. I'm gonna have to ask ChatGPT. Okay, so ChatGPT says cheerful. Okay, so we didn't see Lexi, but Des was standing outside. Mind you, Des is her man, outside, and my sister got all cheerful upon seeing him. When we got in my house, she asked me to go over there and give Des her number. You see what a shiesty bitch Chantel is? I knew it was wrong, but I did it. As I mentioned before, my relationship with my sister has been rocky for a while. I think the main reason I did it was to appease her. I wanted to be accepted and loved so bad, and I knew by me doing it, I would remain in her good graces. We were in a good space, and I felt like if I would have declined, she would have gotten mad, and I didn't want that to happen. I crept over to the scene and was like, "Psst, Des, my sister told me to give you this." I handed him the number on a slip of paper and hurried away. I don't know what happened between Lexi and Des that day, but she ended up moving out of the apartment and moving to Tennessee with my cousin Dash. I started working at Nordstrom's right after my sister left there. For some unknown reason, my mother was pissed that I was working there. "Why would you go get a job there?" she asked my sister. Of course, my sister didn't hire me. She was merely a reference on my application. I got the job myself. I didn't understand what my mother's problem was with me working. She acted the same way anytime I would get a job. I can only speculate that it was a control issue. She preferred for me not to have a job so that I would have to depend on her. She thrives on codependence so that she could throw it in my face. She's paid my rent or helped with other bills on occasion, but she's so inconsistent that I had to get a job. Okay, now, Takari, babe, I gotta help Jackie out here. You are an adult and you should be working anyways, and your mom shouldn't just be paying your rent and your bills. But I know, if I had a mom with money, I would love that too. But let's not act like Takari hasn't taken responsibility and her and her mom made up and they're talking again. And, you know, she is learning to love her mom again. So that's cool. Anyways, I know it would seem like Derek would pick up the slack, but I couldn't depend on him anymore than I could my mother. Okay, Derek, I guess is her man or her baby daddy. I can't remember. I got to go back and read the whole thing. I couldn't depend on my mother, so I had to work. I was still driving my little Ford Focus my mom had bought me a few years prior, but 2 babies meant my family was outgoing the car. My sister decided she wanted to buy a car as well. So we went looking for some newer cars. Neither she nor I knew anything about purchasing a vehicle, and car lot salesman saw us coming from a mile away. We didn't care about the particulars. We just needed to know the amount of the monthly payment. I found a nice SUV that I liked. The salesman told me the monthly payment would be $300 plus $100 car insurance. I was looking at roughly a $400 monthly car payment. I traded in my Ford Focus to cover the down payment, signed the paperwork, and drove off the lot with my new vehicle. I was working at Nordstrom's making $11 an hour, and Derek was also working. I thought we were handling our business. I would love to know, did mommy and daddy buy Chantel's car or what? So she said, once we got our cars, I saw even less of my sister. I'd see her coming and going from the apartment, and that was it. Derek still sold, you see the word, I can't say it, some devil's lettuce. One day he was outside going to drop something off to someone at the back of the apartments. When he got back in, he said, "I just saw Doug Christie." I said, what are you talking about? Where? He told me that my stepdad was at my sister's house loading her stuff into a U-Haul. I immediately called my sister to ask her what was going on. She told me she decided to go back to California. I can imagine she heard the shock in my voice because I had no idea she was even thinking about leaving. Don't worry, Car. I will stop by before I leave to say bye to you and my nephews. We waited, but she never showed up. About a month or so later, I had gotten a little behind on my bills and was facing disconnection with the power company. So I called my sister to see if she could help me out. Why the fuck would I help you when you out here talking shit about me behind my back? That's what she told her. Wait, hold up. What are you talking about? What did I say? She couldn't tell me who said what, but I supposedly called her a hoe and tramp that sleeps around with other people's men. I mean, bitch, it is true. I was dumbfounded because I had never said such a thing to anyone. I thought long and hard about who I talked to and what I said around them. I finally put two and two together. After my sister left Washington and got back to LA, my mother told her about the conversations we had around the time that stuff happened with my cousins. She used what I told her in that 2-minute conversation to turn my sister against me. When I spoke to my mother, I didn't deviate from the facts. I didn't add anything to offer. I didn't add anything or offer any of my own personal opinions about the situation. I told her exactly what happened. Her telling my sister that I said all those things was basically her conclusion about what happened. It didn't matter what was said to my sister. She took my mother's side of the story and ran with it. So you're not going to help me pay the bill even when it's more for your nephews than me? I guess that's what she told Chantel. She didn't care. She was hurt, and the fact that a conversation even took place behind her back set off alarms. I get it. I should have just minded my own business. Okay, so y'all remember last week or 2 weeks ago when Chantel and Takari got into it online, and Chantel and Takari were posting messages, and Takari posted a message about how she DM'd her sister happy birthday like 8 years ago, and her sister wrote back like, how dare you, bitch, you should apologize, and blah 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 blah. And that she was saying how she cut her sister off because her sister asked for money. See, Chantel's so fucking manipulative because she's just leaving out the fact that her sister called her and asked her for money to help her pay her bill. And this bitch wouldn't do it because she was mad that her mom said she's a tramp and a slut and sleeping with people's men. But the facts are the facts, Chantel. You went out there, was staying with your cousin, and slept with her man. Then when your other cousin was breaking up with her man, you gave him your number. Like, girl, you was being a hoe. So even if Takari had told her mom what was going on, like, girl, Chantel was out here sleeping with our cousin's man, the facts are the facts. Even if Jackie twisted shit, said Takari was talking about you, the facts are the facts. You were out there doing hoe shit. And then Takari also exposed in the text messages that she got pregnant and got knocked up by one of daddy's prospects and needed daddy's money and had to move back to California. So that summarizes it all right there. Chantel was out moving and shaking, doing her thing. She didn't care, sleeping with people's men, sleeping with her cousin's man. Then she got pregnant, had to move back and called Doug Christie for help. And this is why they fell out. That y'all really fell out because you were being a hoe. Like, let's break it down. You were being a hoe. Like, I'm so confused. So I'm not going to read no more of the book right now. I want to hear what y'all think down in the comments. What do y'all think about Chantel now? Knowing what kind of chick she is. Now does it make sense why her, whatever the chick name is on Basketballwives, I don't even know. The chick that's one of the Lonzo Ball's kids, baby mom, Brittany Renner. Do you know why they all call themselves the big three now? And do you know why they get along? Because they're all the same chick. Now, I don't know too much about the girl Denise or whatever her name is, but I do know Denise, Brittany, and Chantel all sleep with men in the industry. They all have a kid. They're all just a baby mom. So maybe that's why they get along. Maybe that's why they're calling themselves the big three. Maybe they think they're the LeBron, Kobe, and whoever the third one is. Girl, I don't know nothing about basketball. Maybe they think they're the big three of Instagram thotties in the industry. I don't know, but I want to hear what y'all think down in the comments. Do y'all think Chantel is wrong as hell? Or are y'all still on Chantel's side? Are y'all on Takari's side or Chantel's side? Please put it down in the comments. Please hit the thumbs up. It's free. Do it. It's free 99. Put your notification bells on, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye. And let me know if y'all want a part 2. If y'all want me to read more of this book, I can go back and see how Chantel treated her, why, she felt like she didn't treat her good, or I can read more about Jackie. But I just wanted to jump to this part of the book because she was on Make It Make Sense, talking about how her whole family don't mess with Chantel because of what Chantel did when she lived with them. So that's why I had to get into this. But tell me if y'all want a part 2. All right. Have a good day. Bye.